Okay, welcome back to the channel guys. Here's another video for you. Today we're going to be talking about auditing your website in terms of SEO. So basically looking at your website, analysing it with a few tools I'm going to show you, I'm going to dive into in a minute, to basically see where you're potentially going wrong with the search engine optimization structure, what you can improve on, and basically so you can take your own look at what can be done better, where your competitors are excelling, and where there's some space in the market for you to exploit. So yeah, roll the clip. So I just wanted to make this video just to give you some insight into how you can understand what needs to be done in terms of an SEO strategy to propel your website forward. You don't really need to have the know-how in terms of optimization, SEO, marketing, things like that. I just want you to simply understand, this is done because of this, Google is doing this because of that, and just sort of break it down a little bit. To help you understand, why certain things happen. So this video isn't going to be about, showing you how to SEO your website or showing you any tips or tricks, anything like that. It's simply to show you how to audit your own website, how to look at some of the information that's available out there for both your website, your competitor's website, and the industry as well, and how you can then use that, that info, that intel, to be able to go to, specialists, or whether you want to learn it yourself and say, okay, this is what I found, this is where I think I need to improve. So it's not so much for you to fix it yourself, it's for you to understand what needs to be done in order for it to be fixed. And I want to do this because a question we often get is, okay, so what are you actually going to do on my website to optimize it? And there's a million possible answers to that question, because the truth is, there's no one solution fits all. It depends entirely on where your website ranks, what industry you're in, and what your goals are. And you have to remember that the act of SEO isn't an exact task. It's not like create a logo, create a website. Even with create a website, you have to have a brief of what the website's for. Is it an e-commerce website? Is it a brochure website? Is it a membership website? You need to know a little bit more before you actually dive into something. And if we strip it back to the bare bones, what SEO is a process that in turn, as a result, optimizes the website. Now, strip it back even more, what does the word optimize mean? Optimize essentially means to make the most effective use out of. You can optimize anything, whether physical or digital. It simply means to make the most effective use out of. And in SEO's case, it's to make the most use of a website in a search engine like Google. So there's no exact task as we have when we go into an SEO project. Yes, we have guidelines in mind in terms of this probably isn't done, this is the first thing we need to look at, these are the things that were accelerated, but we go into a website and look exactly what hasn't been done and what needs to be done on a case-by-case basis in order to accelerate it or optimize it to get the best results and get the most effective use out of the search engine. So making the most use out of a search engine for this particular website might mean something completely different for a website that's brand new with no domain authority, for a startup, than it does for a business that's established and just wants an extra edge in a new industry, for example. For those two different parties, the way they make the most effective use out of the search engine will be quite different. And again, a lot depends on their actual product, on their actual industry, and their goals. And like I mentioned earlier, there are definitely factors that we keep in mind that contribute to making the most effective use out of a website when it comes to search engines. And here are some of them. So we always say content is king. Creating fresh content and posting it on the website is always beneficial. No website is going to get ranked without extensive text about the industry or about the product or about the service. A sitemap is something that's majorly important. And when I said we have things in mind that we know potentially haven't been done from the start, a sitemap usually is one of them, especially if a website has been put together by not a web developer but by a customer themselves. Often a sitemap isn't something that you do as somebody that doesn't have the know-how. So submitting a sitemap to the Search Console is usually one of the first things we have to do when we come into a website. A link building strategy is something that's vital as well, so that's the next thing we look at. It's not really something that happens overnight. Our link building strategy, for example, runs for a minimum of 3 months because there are 3 different phases to it, but I'll jump into that in a different video. What that basically means is trying to find links from other highly authoritative websites back to your website with either directories or guest blogging, guest articles and things of that nature. Website speed is another thing that we look at that may potentially have an impact on where your website ranks amongst your competitors. Visibility across Google and search directories, so for example if you're not on Google My Business, that can have a very negative effect on you because Google love, obviously as being Google, to have you as a business listed on their own tool. There's also technical things in terms of the actual website structure. So like I mentioned, a sitemap and a proper structure of the web pages. Is it appropriately designed and adapted for mobile phones? So if a website is not scalable on mobiles and tablets, it has no chance. And finally, domain authority and credibility is also quite important. So like I mentioned at the start, if you have a brand new domain that had no content on it before, you've just purchased it, chances are that the domain authority on it is going to be 0 or 1 or 2 at best. Whereas a domain that's been owned by someone for a while, has had regular content on it, has been in the limelight for quite a while. So I'm going to use, for example, Forbes.com, Independent, Daily Mail, Guardian, massive websites like that. because they're resourceful, people access them, thousands, hundreds of thousands hits per day. They read articles, they're shared, and they have links to other websites and from other websites. Because they're quite heavily used, then they're going to be fairly authoritative to Google. So we actually do quite a lot of auditing like this. A lot of it is done, obviously not talking to camera, but looking at some of the tools that I'm going to jump into in a second. And whether it's for our own purposes or for the customers that we have on our books, or it's for potential customers that we just want to send some value to, we always do a little bit of an audit with some of the tools that we have access to, just to see where things stand in terms of the industry and their competitors. So what I'd like to do now is jump into the laptop like we did in the last video. I'm going to show you through some of the tools that are quite useful, some of the data, and then we're going to digest some of the data down so I can help you understand what some of this means. We're going to look at two examples. One, again, a good example of a website that's had a fair amount of SEO done on it and is maintained properly. Spoiler alert, it's our own website. At the same time, we're going to look at a bad website that's had some toxic backlinks and hasn't been maintained for a while. Spoiler alert, we also had something to do with that website. So let's jump into the screen now and run through some of the tools. Okay, so here we are, guys. This tool is called SEMrush or SEMrush, however you want to pronounce it. What it does is basically strips back all of the information that Google has on your website, whatever link you put in, and shows you all the key information like backlinks, traffic, paid traffic, organic traffic, keywords, and things like that. So I'm going to dive into some of the most important stuff. It's quite info heavy, so I'm not going to go over everything, just the most important things that you're going to need to do a little basic audit on what it is you're looking for, how you can improve. So I'm going to be using our own website for this purpose because I know quite a lot of data about it, and I can show you guys through it fairly easily and fast. And yeah, we actually do this pretty often. We have this on a safe search for ourselves, so we look over our own standings, pretty much on a weekly basis, just to make sure we keep at the top of the game. In terms of the tool, I'm actually using the premium version of it now, just because we run quite a lot of searches on a monthly basis, as you can imagine. But there is a free version of the tool. I believe you can actually run, between 1 and 3, I think, free searches per month. You still have to sign up for it. But if you want to use it on a wider scale, if you have a team that takes care of digital marketing, SEO, most importantly, things like that, then you might want to look into investing something like this to keep tabs of what's going on in the industry. But with the free one, you can still do a lot of the stuff I'm going to show you. So yeah, let's just do a bit of a sort of a tour of of the dashboard, what's going on here. So I've put our domain at the top here, as you can see, and you can check the actual index for for different countries. So if your business operates in the US, you can actually change that to the US, wherever else. Obviously, we're interested in data from the United Kingdom, most importantly. Although, as you can see from here, we do actually get some traffic from the United States. That will be through things like social shares, LinkedIn, and things like that, most importantly. But obviously, we want to look at the United Kingdom breakdown as a primary target market. Right, so in terms of the actual dashboard, what's going on here is the organic search traffic shows us a breakdown of that, and what roughly we're getting on a monthly basis. The paid search traffic, which is 0 at the moment because we're not running any paid ads. The backlinks, so that's, like I mentioned in the first part of the video, building up links from other highly authoritative websites. So in our case, we have backlinks from a mixture of places. There will be forums when we answer some questions for people. We'll put a little link into our website. Also guest posts when we write blog posts on other people's websites, they send the link back to us. Publications and things like that, when they write about digital marketing companies or myself or Matt personally, they link to the site. But also when we build websites for people, for clients, at the bottom of the website we usually have a link that links back to us, like saying developed by Fly Media or maintained by Fly Media. So that's where the majority of the website backlinks come from. But most importantly, the ones that have the most effect are the ones that come from highly authoritative websites. So Social Media Today, I believe we have a backlink from, and a few other sort of authoritative digital marketing forums and magazines online, that in your industry you can do the same, and as part of a link building strategy, that's something that should be done. So that's something that's quite important. And then we have display advertising, which basically just shows how many publishers you have display advertising. We ran a few paid ads a couple of weeks ago, so that's why that data is probably still there. So looking at breakdown by country, we've dived into that a little bit. You can split it by organic and paid. Like I said, we're not running anything paid at the moment, so ours is 100% organic, and you can see where the majority of your visitors are from. The traffic trend is something that's quite interesting. We've had a lot of sort of organic and paid media success around the May time of this year because we ran a few few sort of higher traffic campaigns. As you can see, there's a you can see a visual spike of traffic there, and it sort of comes back down around August time. There was a massive update in Google algorithms, so we had to act on it. Basically, it meant a lot of things changed. Google changed how it ranks a few things, a few factors. We had to obviously discover them and remedy them, both on our website and other clients' websites as well. That's the benefit of having somebody managing your SEO, because when a dip like that happens, you can understand it and rectify it. So you can see that on a 1 month scale, 6 month scale, 1 year scale, 2 year scale, or all time even, since obviously the domain began. But obviously we want to look at the past couple of months. I think is the most relevant, but you can look at the past couple of years, just if you want a bigger picture. Organic keywords. This is the most important part here. So in terms of your, if you're doing this for yourself, you'd want to look at how much traffic you're getting to the website, whether you need to increase it or decrease it. You can compare this to your actual conversions through the website. So if you sell something online, for example, if you've got a store on Amazon and you've got a store on your own website, you can compare what traffic you get on your Amazon store versus on your web store, on your website, and what the what the split is in terms of conversions from this, conversions from this. So it's something that's quite important, but obviously you don't have to, when you're on your website, you don't have to run it through SEMrush to see your own traffic. You can do that with Google Analytics, and it's much more reliable. You would only need to look at this organic search traffic if you were sort of spying on the competitors. So organic keywords, this is where you actually find out how much recognition you're getting in Google for some of the keywords that are relevant to your industry and your services. So in our case, we can't be an SEO agency if we can't make our own SEO good. So we were actually number 1 at some point, but obviously other people are on top of the game as well, so it always fluctuates. But we're usually between that 1 and 5, position 1 and 5 for SEO Manchester. Currently we are position number 3, and there's 1,900 searches for that on a monthly basis. So any SEO clients that we get that call us or drop us an email or download something from our site usually is from that 1,900 search volume, and that is because we are position number 3 for that search. So you can be benefiting from that sort of essentially free traffic by having a search strategy in place. SEO Agency Manchester is just a different variant. There's less searches for that, but you have to account for some longer tail keywords as well. Position number 5. Social Media Agency Manchester, another service that we offer. We are again position number 3. Slightly less searches there as well. Apparently it's a less sort of desired service in the area. PPC Agency Manchester, we're number 4. I didn't actually know that. I thought we were quite a bit lower. I think this is something that's fairly new. So position number 4 after 210 searches. SEO and Company Manchester, again a different variant of the top. If you click View Full Report here, what you can actually see is a breakdown of all of the different keywords that you rank for, even ones that are position 60, 70, 80 that are never going to get seen by anybody. What this graph shows us is keywords that are in the top 3, keywords that are between positions 4 and 10, 11 and 20, and we can turn these on as well. But for now, let's look at the most important ones here. So that's the top 3 brackets here. So at its peak, we had 11 keywords in the top 3. At the moment, it's 7. It's dropped down. Although that might mean that we were ranking for keywords that we won't get much traffic to, or that were irrelevant to people. So as long as you're getting the amount of traffic and the amount of conversions that you're comfortable with, happy days, right? So we're currently sitting at 7 keywords in the top 3, 16 keywords in between 4 and 10, and 21 between 11 and 20. So what we usually look at when we do an audit for a customer, a potential customer, and what you should be looking for yourself is top 3 keywords, fantastic. Make sure that obviously you're maintaining those. But what you want to be looking at to grow and to scale is keywords that are ideally in positions between that 4 and 20. Now I'll tell you why, because if they're position 4 and 20, chances are it won't take that much more effort to try and get them into the top 3, right? So we weren't always in top 3 for SEO Manchester. At some point we were position 10, but we saw it and we worked at it and eventually we got there. So like I said, it's not something that happens overnight, but it is something that, when you put a strategy together and you look at some of the competitors, look at some of that data, then you'll be able to determine, that in X amount of months we can get there via these strategies. What we call these things is low-hanging fruit, especially anything in positions. I would say anything between 8 and 15, 8 and 16 maybe. Because if it's 8 and 16, chances are you haven't really done any work on it. I mean, all the stuff that's top 5 for us, we are heavily invested in it. All of the keywords that are in positions, between 8 and 16, they've gotten themselves there because the rest of the website is quite authoritative. we get quite a lot of traffic, we get quite a lot of campaigns that are running, and they just sort of got there almost by accident. Now, you've got to think, if they got themselves sort of by accident without you actually having the proper strategy in place, to actually try and get them there as an active goal, then imagine what you can do if you actually put that goal in place for the next 6 months and try and get them there. That's why we call it low-hanging fruit, because it's just there, it's gotten itself there, all you need to do is reach up and grab it. So we're going to check a custom range of keywords in positions 8 to 16, and it's going to show us some keywords for those. So Facebook advertising campaign management, let's look at that. 70 people searched us on a monthly basis. We could potentially try and get that traffic, although looking at the search volume, probably not worth it, seeing as, for example, Social Media Manchester, Facebook falls under that, we have a lot more traffic from that. So that's something that we wouldn't focus the most attention on. That's another thing you want to look at is the volume. You don't want to be, top three search results for a keyword that nobody searches for, 10 people search for on a monthly basis. You want to be at the top of one that's a little bit more vibrant in terms of search volume. But with that also comes, more work, because it's going to be more competitive. You're not the only one that can see that, that area has a lot of clients looking for you. So if we look at the search volume first and foremost, and try and find a search volume that's quite comfortable in terms of, we're comfortable, we can get a decent amount of traffic in and try and convert into a few clients. So if we look at this one, for example, 720 searches per month, very generic search, digital marketing agency Manchester. We're not ranked, well, we are ranking for it, but position number 12, chances that's probably page number 2. Reason for it being, honestly, we rank for specific services, so when somebody contacts us via the SEO page, we know that they typed SEO into Google and we know exactly what they're looking for. Digital marketing, they could be looking for anything from Facebook ads to SEO to pay-per-click, for example, so it's a little bit more broad. And it means the traffic that comes through is a little bit more unqualified because they're not quite sure yet what they're looking for. But nevertheless, if we wanted to rank for that, we know that we have to do something in the area of digital marketing as a keyword. We'll probably put a campaign together or a long landing page, put some blog posts out, and try and monitor that keyword that's in position number 12. Chances are in the next couple of months that will jump into 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, and a little bit higher as well, depending how much time and effort we want to put into it. PPC Manchester is an interesting one, so I believe the one that we saw on the first page was PPC Agency Manchester, if I'm not wrong, position number 12. That's a short tail keyword as well. Chances are if we put that into practice as well, we were going to end up somewhere in the top 10 at least. I saw a good one here a second ago somewhere. SEO Company Manchester, number 10. That's again the longer tail keyword that probably, honestly, that will come by itself. The more we work on SEO Manchester, that will just naturally come along with it, just because it's a longer tail keyword. Website design Manchester, that is something that we are guilty of not pursuing that much, although it has a very healthy search volume. That is something that I know we don't actually have an active strategy in place to try and get ranking. Now, remember what I said earlier, it's gotten itself to position 16 without us really doing much, or as much as we did for the SEO or the PPC or social media pages. As you can see, we're in top 3 or 5. That one, if we put a strategy in place today, chances are in the next 3 to 6 months that can be doing as well as the other pages as well, with the appropriate strategy behind it and resources, obviously. So what you want to do is go into here, look for positions 8 to 16 roughly, I would say. Find keywords that have a decent search volume, so don't try and going for things that are 40 search volume or 50 search volume. I would suggest anything above 100 ideally. Maybe if what you sell or what you offer is very, very niche, so if you offer a specific type of business coaching in a very specific area in Essex, for example, you can go for the lower search volumes, because if somebody's typing in exactly that term and exactly that location, they are very, very qualified because they know exactly what they're looking for in an exact geographic location. Whereas SEO Manchester's quite big. SEO is a very broad subject. Therefore, you need quite a lot of search volume sort of for that. But another thing I wanted to add is the cost per acquisition, or the cost per customer actually instead. You can allow yourself to have a smaller search volume for the things that you want to rank for if one customer to you is worth, for example, £3,000 or £4,000. Then you can allow yourself to try and get something that's 7 people are searching for a month, because you only need one of those to convert to get a massive return on investment. Whereas if you're looking, to sell, for example, phone cases, it's a classic example I use, they're going to be £12.99. there's not going to be enough people in that 70 search volume for you to, against your competitors, try and scoop up, convert into clients. Obviously, at the low sale value of $12.99 as an example, it's going to take a lot of search volume and conversions to try and make the money back on that. Whereas if there was 3,000 searches for that, for a specific phone case of a specific character, for example, that you specialize in, you can allow yourself to do that. But yeah, just keep in mind, sort of reverse engineer how many people are searching for what you're selling, what is your average value per customer, and if you got, let's say, 10% of that search volume, so if I turn that 70 into 7 convert clients, is that going to make me ROI? So you just got to sort of think in a reverse engineering way to try and understand a lot of this. But I hope that's been helpful. Right, next thing I just want to look at is backlinks. So here you can see all of the backlinks that are pointing back to your website and which page. So a lot of these are just going to be some of our clients. Social Media Examiner, for example, this is one of the websites that we have a guest blog on. So I believe it was Matt actually that wrote a guest blog, submitted it to Social Media Examiner. They're a big social media sort of publication online. They like the article, they published it, and as a thank you, they get some content obviously out of it. They get fresh content on the website, and we get a link from a website that gets thousands of clicks a day. So it works on both ways. For the reader, obviously they get a little bit of a brand awareness in terms of who Fly High Media are, who Matt is, etc. And at the same time, they get an article written by an expert in social media that they can read and get value out of. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. That's something that's not really, it doesn't really work overnight. So to get that, we had to, find Social Media Examiner and other websites that would take guest blog posts, ask them what kind of blog posts they were looking for, agree on a time scale of when to post it, when to write it, how long it's going to be, what we're allowed to mention, and things like that. And then obviously write it, submit it, wait for them to post it. So it's not something that takes 2 or 3 days. Usually it is a 3-month process for us. So it goes in 3 stages of research, and then conversation with the different portals and websites, and then finally writing and submitting. So it's very valuable when you do it, but it's not something that you should expect doing overnight. But as you can see, it's appearing at sort of at the top of our backlinks as well, so it's actually doing very good work. And honestly, it's probably one of the reasons why we're doing so well for some of the social media SEO pages that we have ranking quite high, because Google can see that we're getting constant backlinks from websites that people are clicking in the same space. I mean, if this was an article that we wrote about kitchens and our favorite ovens on the kitchen website, Google's going to recognize that the content on this website is very, very different to the content that we actually have and offer to clients on this website. Therefore, it makes no sense for Google to send its customers, essentially, or its users, from an article about kitchens to a website of digital marketing. So, and I'm going to run into sort of toxic backlinks in a minute and sort of help you understand why those are bad and what can happen with those. So make sure that the backlinks you have are relevant. Don't just go out and get a backlink that's totally out of your depth, out of your industry, because it's likely to do more harm than good, as opposed to you just getting a sort of a lower level backlink, but something that's very, very specific to what you do. So yeah, a lot of these, I just wanted to show you that one mainly. A lot of these are some of our clients. Again, a lot of these will be articles that we've submitted. 8 reasons why small business and startups need a professionally built website by Fly High Media. That's on a website called shetakesontheworld.com. So it's just guest posts that we've written that sort of recognized in places, and that help us reach sort of whatever goals we need. That is basically the majority of the overview I wanted to look at. So what we're going to do now is I have a bit of a bad example to show you guys. Obviously, we update our website on a regular basis. All of our podcasts, videos, blog posts go up on there quite regularly. We sometimes get guest posts in. We, on a monthly basis, pretty much write guest posts, put them on other websites to link back. We update our website in terms of the actual technical things, so it's built on WordPress, so we update all of the WordPress versions, all the plugins and things like that, make sure there's no security issues. So it's a maintained website, and we do the same for our clients. Now I want to show you what happens if you don't maintain a website for about a year, built on WordPress as well, and if you don't actually take care of your SEO, what can actually happen. So we're going to jump into that now. Right, so what I'm going to show you now is an example of a website that isn't doing so well. So what this is basically is Fly High Media used to, a part of the business used to trade under a different name before it all collectively became Fly High Media. It used to be Wolfed and Creative. That's the site that I used to run for about 3 years ago now. Now everything is under Fly High Media at the moment. but the website of Auditing Creative still remains, is basically providing services very similar to Flying Media, just on a very different scale. The website and the domain remained, not much is done with it, I just kept it dormant essentially, but the website has been taken down, so it gives us a good opportunity to see sort of what's happened with it over the past essentially year and a half, where nothing's been done with it. It's a little bit like leaving a car without turning it on for about a year and a half, 2 years, coming back to it and seeing if it still runs. It's a little bit like that, but in this case, I've already looked at it before, and there's some good stuff to show you guys in terms of what not to do, so let's jump into it now. So as you can see, because the website doesn't really do anything, the organic search traffic is 0 basically. There's no search traffic there, there's no paid traffic. It's got 399 backlinks, although there was never any backlinking done in terms of a link building strategy. So all of the backlinks that there will be some legitimate ones from clients that we built websites for, and there's a accreditation in the footer. There will be some from other publications that are irrelevant, and there will be some that are toxic, and I'll run you through sort of what these are and what these mean in a second. Wolf Marketing Agency, because it's called Wolfden, for some reason Wolf Marketing Agency started to rank. It's position 65 out of 50. I don't know who would search for Wolf Marketing Agency. Maybe it's a company, Wolf Marketing, and just sort of got on its way there. All of these are accidental. No work has been done for these. SEO Portsmouth, because the business was based in Portsmouth. Position number 68 out of 210. That's actually, there's a service on there for SEO Portsmouth. Again, nothing's been done. If this website was used, obviously that would be a lot higher. But as you can see, if you don't have a search strategy in place, you don't update your website, you don't get any traffic to it, you're not going to get anywhere. As you can see, SEO Manchester, the website that is regularly updated, has a regular search strategy in place. It's position number 3, right? The one that isn't is position number 68. Can't really think of a better example to show you on the live video. Wolf and Key Marketing, not even going to acknowledge it. I assume it's another company. It's absolutely irrelevant to the business. What I wanted to show you is some of the toxic backlinks here. So what toxic backlinks are is Google understands, as I mentioned earlier, that a link that is highly authoritative from a highly authoritative website helps the website that is being sent to. Now, Google also recognizes websites that are inappropriate or out of touch. It's a little bit like buying followers on Instagram or Twitter. People used to do that back in the day. I believe they still do. But what it essentially did back in the day was, if you wanted more followers, it seemed that your account is a little bit bigger, you're a bit more popular, you just bought some followers, 5,000 followers, and they just get added to your account. That was fantastic at the start, but then Facebook and Instagram started cracking down on the fact that a lot of these followers are just either bots or inactive accounts. And what you see now is people started to lose, for example, 10,000 followers in one night, just because Facebook are doing a clear out of accounts that have not had anything active on them for the past year, for example. They're irrelevant, and they will actually it won't do good to your algorithm in terms of posting on Instagram and Facebook. So that's why buying followers on Instagram and Facebook has never been advised, and even more so these days when Facebook and Instagram are aware of the issue of people getting fake followers essentially, or fake likes even. That's why it's becoming a problem. It's exactly the same concept with backlinks. So much like people thought more followers are going to make them more popular, people think more backlinks are going to make their website shoot up in rankings. Where that's true, they have to be relevant backlinks. And same as the followers concept, you have to have followers that are engaging with you and that are relevant to you and that are liking your posts, not just sitting there as a number that are inactive accounts everywhere else. It's the same concept here. You have to have links that are relevant to your industry, that are not rude, that are not potentially seen as unsafe sites, unsecure sites. And Google can see all of that. It's all in the public domain. What can actually happen sometimes if a website is dormant? People will try to hack into it, potentially just to steal the domain or whatever's left of it. I don't actually know any reasons behind this. Why would you want to try and sort of hack a website that's not got much going on? Maybe because they think there's some data to steal behind in the back end, which potentially there might be. Or it's essentially your competitors sending toxic backlinks to your website. If your particular competitor doesn't like you in your area or whatnot, or in your area of expertise, in your area geographically, they can actually get a lot of toxic backlinks and send them to your website. So the Google goes, okay, that website is getting a lot of backlinks that are inappropriate, let's downrank them. It's a little bit of a sabotage, but it happens. Some other ways I'm sure it happens as well, but we don't really look into too much. As long as they're not happening, it's not really something that should be happening in the industry too much. But let's look at some of the ones here, because obviously the more you leave the website unattended, the more you're going to get, you know, the more of these backlinks that are toxic you're going to get. So let's just find some here. I'm sure there will be some here. As you can see, some of them are actually, you know, relevant. So for example, Yoda is a charity that we supported that raised money for cancer research, and we've got backlink from them because the website was developed by us. Here's one. As soon as you start seeing foreign languages that you don't operate in, it's usually going to be a toxic backlink. So I'm can't even pronounce it. It's a Czech website. Don't really want to click it unless it's something just in case it's something inappropriate. Let's go down. Matrix Internet, they're a legit company that we used to work with over in Ireland as well, so that's a legit one. There we see more Czech backlinks that I have no idea what they mean. That's linking to a JSON file of a plugin on WordPress. So that's very, very strange. Shouldn't be linking to that. I assume that's a hack attempt of some sort. Let's look at again some of these. So clearly somebody from the Czech Republic has sent a lot of toxic backlinks to this website for, it might not have been a malicious reason, might have been very strange, might have just been a mistake, but nevertheless they are there and they're recognized by Google if I'm looking at them in the tool. Even if they're not malicious, they can be seen by Google as, okay, this is completely irrelevant, it's in a different language, it's from an area of the world, because you can see by the domain here, sees that it's from an area of the world where there's no traffic to the website from, so they can't be doing any business with them. It's completely irrelevant. These guys are trying to get backlinks for the sake of getting the number of backlinks, and as you can see, the number of backlinks is 399, I believe. Yeah, 7 added recently actually as well. 399 backlinks, even though the website has been operating for the past 2 years, and when it was operating, we did not have an active strategy in place to get backlinks in place. Now again, as I mentioned with the other example, having backlinks from places like Social Media Examiner is one of the main reasons why we do so well with the ISO rankings. Similarly here, having 399 backlinks where 70% of them are irrelevant from different countries, potentially even inappropriate. I don't want to click it to find out. That's probably one of the main reasons why nothing is being ranked on this website, even though the website is designed quite well because I did it. It's responsive to mobiles and it's very user friendly. Even though that's all in place, none of it matters because there's toxic things going on in the background, and that happens when you don't maintain a website properly. I'm kind of glad I kept this and we didn't actually delete it 2 years ago because we wouldn't have had this to sort of run some tests on now. So I'm actually going to keep it unattended, see potentially maybe if it gets hacked. I don't know. I'm rooting for my own old website to get hacked, but it will be a cool case study to look at. We might even sort of potentially try and do a bit of a clear out of it and try and get it back to life, just to show you guys, if we can potentially take SEO Portsmouth from position 68 to position 3, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. That will take a lot of time and effort, so it probably won't do that because it won't do us any good. But there's some experiments that we can run on a website that's sort of in a slump at the moment and show you guys the progress of it. As I said, SEMrush is the tool you want to use. You'll be able to do a lot of the same stuff on a free version, but if you want to grab yourself the paid version, I can vouch for it. We've been using it for ages, and it's absolutely the top of the tools out there to do this. This is not a sponsored video, although SEMrush, if you want to sponsor us for videos, get in touch. I'm going to leave that there. If you guys have any questions or any queries that you want to raise, pop them down in the comments or wherever this video is, or drop me a message on Instagram or on my email. And actually guys, we are doing live audits for people, not live as in live in person, but live as in we'll do a little video like this, looking over your website, providing some thoughts in terms of exactly what we just did on the first website, going into some industry specifics of you should be doing this is probably the way you should be going, you need to be doing this link building strategy, you need to be looking at these keywords. We'll look at some of the low-hanging fruit. We've done plenty of those in the past and they work quite well. They give a good amount of sort of value. So if you guys want us to take a look at your website, again, pop something down in the comments or drop me a message, drop me an email, get in touch somehow, say that you came from the video and we'll be happy to help you and go from there. So hopefully this video has been valuable. Again, we enjoy doing these style of videos. I think it's a little bit more interactive and hopefully we'll be back soon with even more value. So thanks for watching guys, I'll see you soon.